Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters and viewers of IQRA TV. Welcome to another program of Real Talk, a program that tries to bring to you issues that are of interest to members of the Muslim community and other communities as well for that matter. Over the last few months, we've talked about a number of issues on a regular basis around health, around social justice, around equality and diversity, hate crime, grooming and mental health issues. And we try and make sure that whatever we discuss is relevant to what is happening in our society, in our community at this moment in time. Today we have a similar issue which is challenging the Muslim community throughout the whole of the country. I'm sure every person who is a parent in particular will have heard the government's new initiative on RSE, relationships and sex education, to be taught in schools from a very, very early age. Muslim communities and Christian communities and members of the Jewish community and others, people of no faith, have been campaigning against this diktat that has come through from the government. And Ofsted is very committed to making sure that this new subject area is delivered, regardless of the age of the children. And I understand they're going to start very, very young in primary school. Many, many parents up and down the country, people of faith and no faith, are unhappy. And we have seen protests taking place outside schools in Birmingham, in London, and other places as well. This is an issue that is being discussed across all the media organizations and all Muslim channels as well. And we've been doing that for a while through my other colleagues in London. But we've not done it yet from our Bradford studio. So today is the first time, and I hope one of a couple of programs specifically dealing with this issue about relationship and sex education in schools. What the government and Ofsted is saying is that the notion of a man and a woman being the unit that makes up a family is no longer viable, because we have different types of relationships that makes up families. So and that is the crux of the whole matter. Some people see it as promoting other life forms, other lifestyles, such as homosexuality, lesbians, etc., gay, transgender people, and others people see that as a freedom of expression for people to live their lives. I have no problems and no issues around people wanting to live their lives, and I'm quite happy, and I've got some friends that I worked with over many, many years who like that lifestyle and who want to live that lifestyle, so that's fine. I don't personally believe in it, my faith doesn't allow me to believe in it, and I still don't believe in it, but that doesn't mean that I can object to what they want to do. It's a free world, free society. As long as they don't impose it upon me, that's fine, and I'm happy to work and live with them side by side. The question is, a lot of people feel that this is an imposition on young people in their minds, and at a very early stage in their lives, children are being forced to understand some of these very complex issues, and this is challenging to the Muslim world, the Christian world, and the Jewish world, and others as well. So today I have Maulana Ibrahim with me, a man who is no stranger to viewers of our channel. He has been here on many occasions. He does his programs as well. Who's a local from Bradford, he's an Imam in Bradford, and he's well respected and well regarded on the issues about Islam and where it stands on a number of broad range of issues. Maulana Sahib, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. Nice to have you here again.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you keeping?
Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah, you're looking well.
Alhamdulillah.
Obviously, this issue around RSE, which is short for relationships and sex education in schools, particularly been targeting young people, young kids as well. What are your views on that? Because this is quite a challenging, complex, controversial subject that has developed over the last few weeks in particular.
Yes.
Have you had some thoughts around that, and have you discussed it with some of your colleagues and friends?
Well, regarding discussion, I think so. We've had these discussions further a long time. As we know, within our society, there are different views and different ways of families that are existing. Transgender, homosexuality, bisexuality, gay, so LGBT is the acronym of the different ideas. So yes, as a subject, it's an issue. I also deliver this as a training.
Oh, right.
And
where do you deliver this training?
Well, within the different scholars,
right,
and the young ulama, and the purpose behind this is the idea behind this subject. So philosophical understanding about these issues, it's very important. But as you have used the word, there are complex ideas. So something which is complex, and then we aim to include that within the curriculum for the younger generation, that is the critical issue. And it's not suitable for the younger generation.
Starting at the age of 5, I suppose.
Yes.
That's what the proposals are.
Yes.
So, do you feel that is starting too early?
Well, it's starting too early, and as those who do not agree with these type of ideas, their interpretation of implementing these ideas is to normalize these complex issues. So it's not the purpose of education. If it was the purpose of education, it should be left to the state of a student where he can understand or she can understand the complex ideas, so they can look at it from a complexive vision. So it needs to be magnified on the term of complexity. However, delivering to the younger generation isn't the purpose of education. It is to pave the way to normalize these complex ideas in practical forms of individuals. In other words, we're trying to say...
In your way, you talk about, obviously, where does Islam stand on some of these issues?
Well, Quran says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu liyastazinkumul ladhina malakat aymanukum walladhina lam yablughul huluma minkum thalatha marrat.
Right.
This is a surah in Nur, and one ruku, within one ruku, right at the final ruku, it's the last ruku before the final, and then Surah Furqan starts. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains about the believers. Ya ayyuhalladhina, O believers, liyastazinkumul ladhina malakat aymanukum. Those people who live with you. Remember, the Quran is for the whole universe. There was a time when there was a slavery. We had slaves in the house as well. Taking that society into the Quran says, liyasta'dinkumul ladina malakat imanukum. When they come to you, they should seek permission. Walladina lam yablughul huluma. And those who have not reached to the age of puberty, they should seek permission. From who? Minkum, from you. Thalatha marrat. 3 times. So that means when the family all together is living as a family, and within the family, within the house, we have different rooms, and within different, the people are living in different rooms. So if one individual wants to enter the territory or the room of another individual, Quran says they should seek permission. How many times? Thalatha marrat. Min qabli salat al-fajr. First time is min qabli salat al-fajr, before the fajr prayer.
Right.
Don't just open the door and enter somebody's territory, somebody's room. Knock the door, seek permission, and inform who you are. And when you are given permission, then enter that place. Min qabli salat al-fajr wa hina tada'una thiyabakum min az-zahira. And at the noon time, when you take your clothes away and you hang them up. This is the eloquence of the Quran. Wa hina tada'una thiyabakum min az-zahira. At noon time, some people go to sleep.
So that is relationships, isn't it?
That's a relationship.
Yeah.
Now,
but where does relationships around LGTB issues fit within
so
that?
let's try to understand these 3 points.
Right.
The Quran says at these 3, min qabli wa hina tada'una thiyabakum min az-zahira wa min ba'di salat al-isha, and after the isha time. So there are 3 times. Min qabli salat al-fajr, noon time, hina tadawna siyabakum min az-zahira, wa min ba'di salat al-isha, and after isha prayer. Because these are time we are not sleep and we are waking up, and we need to go to eat individually. The Quran says, ask permission to whom? Walladhina lam yablughul huluma. Those who have not reached the age of puberty, they should seek permission. Why is the reason that they have been stopped from 3 times? Because at this time, people are individuals within their own rooms, within their own territory, within the area which they are covered and which is they are protected. They are involved in a relationship. So if a young child comes who is not reached the puberty, he needs to seek permission, because if he doesn't seek the permission, it's going to be difficult for him to observe what's happening inside. That relationship that exists between the members of the family, if that's been open to those who have not reached the puberty, it's going to harm them.
Right.
So what I'm trying to say from the Quranic version down here, that within this society many things do exist, but do we have to observe everything? No, we have to wait to the age of having a capability.
Basically, if I understand what you're saying is that to teach young people issues around husband-wife relationship, male and female relationship, they should not be spoken to them with a child until they reach the age of puberty. So this notion that children should be taught from very early, in your opinion, goes against
Quran says, "Salathu awratil lakum, laysa alaykum wala alayhim junahun ba'dahun, tawafuna alaykum ba'dun." Salathu, these times are awra. They are considered as your organs of the body that needs to be hidden.
Right.
So, as these 3 times is a time which the Quran says awra. We have an aura on our body.
That is stopping a young person entering into a room where a man and wife may be resting.
Why?
Right? Yeah.
Why?
So they don't see anything that
is going to harm them.
Yeah, they might come across, the man and wife, in some intimate situation, for example. But the issue about this thing about LGTB and sex education and relationship is where you've got same-sex couples involved. So what is Islam's view on relationship between same-sex people?
Well, same-sex people, Quran clearly explains about them. Innakum lata'tuna rijal. It's against the word of the book.
Right.
All the books. It's not only the Quran. All the books which were revealed, it's against that. So we say that having these type of family, it's against the word of Allah.
Right.
So there's no doubt in that. On the other hand, there have been societies who have been practicing this. And if the messenger of Allah was sent to them, he warned them about the punishment from Allah. And then when they did not hear the words and they did not practice on the God's guidance, then they were involved in the punishment.
You're talking about Sodom and Gomorrah as they say in...
Yes. So, innakum lata'tuna rijal shahwatam min dunin nisa. Quran discourages from these type of thoughts.
Right.
So it's against the ideological concept. It totally prevents the society, and also it shows to us that it's not a way of an ideal way of life. So
if you take this, I mean, I agree with that.
Yes.
Right. There's no doubt about it. But if you take the argument that some people are making,
yes,
the Christian church, until maybe about 10-15 years ago, was also fundamentally against this type of relationship. But they have shifted, obviously, over the last, particularly in the last 5-10 years, and they've changed their minds. The Catholic Church was very orthodox and fundamentally was against it, and even they starting to move forward, or backwards, whichever way you want to look at it. So there are people even in the Muslim faith, who are saying, Islam needs to follow the lead of some of these others. Do you agree with that, or do you say no, never?
Well, yes, these are the facts that some religious places have changed their view regarding the action. Now the question is that change because the book of the God was flexible, or is it that their actual practice more influential and they've gone over the words of the God? That is the central point. What we're saying is the word of the God is very clear.
It's final.
It's final. We cannot modify that. Yes, within the society, as we say within society, we have different type of people who are live down here. And we do agree with the law of land that we do not humiliate any individual. We do not agree with the idea that's behind it, but we respect the individual. And we say, we do not have any hatred against the maris, but the marad is identified, the illness is there.
Right.
So when it comes to the ideological understanding, we say, well, it's not allowed, it's against the word of a God. Now, there is another philosophical debate down here. Maybe a much of a higher level for our audience.
Our audience is very sophisticated.
Yes, okay, I'm just
Right?
saying, okay,
Yes.
whether two individuals from the same background, which is against the traditional way of living, is it according to the akal? Is it according to the akal it cannot happen, or is it because it's a nakal, because of the words given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's why we can't live? Some scholars do suggest it's against the akal. Some say, well, it's not against the akal, but it's against the nakal.
Right. So, I mean, in the sense of akal and nakal.
Yes.
Right. Akal is where a person makes up their own mind.
Well,
right?
Does it go against the akal?
Well, I mean, their akal is saying, you know, this is
well,
fine.
I'm just saying, yes.
Your and my akal might say it's wrong.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying, these
whose
are the
akal is it?
hukama.
Whose akal is it?
Hukama. Is it that can, as individuals, stay together or not? So, suggesting having discussions on the akal down here within our society, our discussions are based on akal. Some say, well, akal it can happen. Some say akal it cannot happen.
Right.
Okay, so that's this contested concept. If you say, okay, according to the akal it cannot happen, that is a different issue down here. We're not forcing onto that. There may be arguments in supportive, and there may be arguments in not, which are not supportive to it. But what we're saying, according to the nakal, is a consensus that this type of marriage, this type of family does not exist. When we say about a family, we have to be very careful when we are defining the term family. What do we mean by that?
Right.
So it can be a psychological term, it can be a sociological term, it can be a religious term, and it can be.
I mean, in your view,
Yes.
right, as an alim, as an imam, what is the definition of a family for you?
Well, well, according to the Islam,
Right.
Islam family is called al-ahl.
Right.
Okay, so ahl is not only between a husband and a wife; the children are included. Extended family is also part of the ahl.
I'm talking about a family where two people
Yes.
come together with the intention of living
Yes.
together as husband and
As
wife.
a husband and wife.
And, you know, bringing children into the world.
Yes.
You know, from that relationship.
So all those
So
relationships
in your view, the definition of the family is that
is a traditional method.
Nuclear husband, male, female.
No, not just nuclear. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. Nuclear is only between husband and wife and their children.
Right.
Well, we're saying when it comes to the ahl, it's nuclear and extended family.
No, forget the extended family for the
Yeah,
time
but
being.
that's what I'm saying.
No.
Nuclear.
The extended
Yeah,
family
well,
is a
well,
separate issue.
well,
I'm talking about relationship between a
Yes,
man
well,
and a woman.
yeah, say-
Whether they have parents,
Well,
non-parents, well, no, that's immaterial.
Well, that we can only define something which is ahl, and ahl comes under these terms. So,
Right.
two individuals with the same background wouldn't be considered as a family according to the words of the God and the Quran and the Hadith.
Right. So obviously, you were saying very clearly then that, you know, two people of the same sex would not be considered to be a family in that sense.
Islamic family.
Right, in an Islamic family in that sense. So when you say you talk to, you do some training around this issue.
Yes.
I'm assuming you're talking about people who are training to be imams, alims, etc. Is it, or
Well-
your fellow colleagues who are already
fellow
qualified?
colleagues, and obviously when you come to these debates and these issues which exist in today's society, and yes, we do discuss these ideas.
Now, what is a general view of people, you know, that you talk to about these issues? What is the feeling out there? Do they see this issue around relationship and sex education, you know, in schools and in colleges and universities, etc., a dangerous step forward or something positive?
Well, we can't say it's a dangerous. We don't say it's a positive, but it's a challenge.
Right.
And the society is the name of a challenge. All it is, our discussions, our debates are there. Whatever type of challenge, be prepared for it.
Right.
And also those people who do consider that it needs to be, this education needs to be given to the younger children, actually it's an idea from the humans. So that is a challenge, and we need to address that in a sophisticated way.
So if a child comes to you in your madrasa and says to you, Maulana Sahab, in my school today, right, my teacher mentioned to me that a man and a man or a woman and a woman can live together as husband and wife. How do you respond to that?
Well, we say, well, yes, we'll say, well, that is, some people do agree with this type of idea, and this is a initiative, it's a new idea that exists within society. However, it's against the word of the Quran.
Right.
Yes, as there are many other elements and practices within the society that are against the word of the God. And it's a consensus idea. The word of the book, whether it's a Torah, whether it's Injil, whether any book at all, there's not a single verse that allows this.
So how do you, in your professional opinion, as an imam, as an alim, as a teacher with young people, how do you counteract that narrative, about when young people are being given this indoctrination, this message? If you're saying, we have to tell our young people that this is against the Quran, and the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how do you counteract that?
Well, we say, well, there are some people who do consider as an ideal way of life. On the other hand, Muslims do not agree with this. So all you're doing, there's two ideas. Just as we argue with two types of debates, we need to be objective about the ideas. We can't be subjective. Okay, these people cannot live because it's the word of the God, because we've been subjective to our own idea. We need to be subjective. So subjectivity is important through the delivery method. So for example, if it's a mainstream school, you've got different type of people. So we can't be subjective to one idea. The responsibility on the teacher, it is to explain the ideas while the practice is impartial and is free from subjectivity.
And I mean, the question then that leads me to is, do you think that this is being done in schools in an impartial way, where it's being given to them as a number of options of family, what the family structures could be like? Or do you think it's being done in a way where saying, this is how society now is?
Well, like we said, these discussions are not new.
Right.
It's the initiative is that is only to the very young age of people. These discussions have been discussed in sociology, in psychology, and there are arguments for
that happens in professional level.
Professional level.
That happens in a
That's what I'm
professional
saying. It's a
level.
complex.
I'm talking about people like you and me in the ordinary community. We don't sit down and discuss in our social circles.
The discussions and ideas are there, and also as having legislation, law of the land, it does exist within the society. The issue down here is that is it going to be supportive for educational purposes or not? Is it a child-centered approach or not? I argue that it is against the child-centered approach if this is applied within the early education.
Right. So the argument, that the counter argument to that is that they want to. I've just been told that we're going to go for a break. We need to pray our Maghrib namaz as well. So don't go away. Have a cup of tea or coffee, as I say every time, whatever it is, glass of water. This is an interesting debate. Parents up and down the country are thinking, how do we deal with this? We'll come back to you inshallah soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.